Well, after I qualified as a pilot, I was posted to a local squadron at Middlewallop, and we kept our training going, but we weren't allotted to any particular army unit to support them. And one morning I came in from flying, and I was a flight commander, although I was very young then, 22, 23. And one of my pilots came and says, there's some idiot from some organisation called 6th Armoured Division. I think he's a staff officer. And he says, we're, going to them. And I said, I didn't know anybody, so I told him to ring back when you got in. So I got this sort of thing in my head. We got an idiot staff officer on the phone, and I don't know anything about it. And so I went and rang up the number, and the voice said, Prior Palmer, 6th Armoured Division. And I said, I understand you rung me up. I said, my name is John Elliott. I'm captain, flight commander of 1901 flight. What's it all about? And he said, oh, you've been allotted to us. So I said, oh, have we? Nobody's told us. And then, who the hell are you anyway? And he said, I'm the General. And it was Errol Prior Palmer, who was the commander of 6th Armoured Division.
Oh my God.
And adding to the sort of the whole thing was the fact that he was a very keen light aircraft pilot, a private pilot. And so we were having this conversation, you got the whole flight, have you, Elliot? So I said, yes, sir. And he said, I see. Right, well, do you favour a high sink approach for a short landing, or would you prefer to do something else, you see? And I said, I don't do anything but a high sink approach. We always get a short landing there. He said, well, I don't agree with it. I always do fishtailing. So I said, well, you're not flying my aeroplanes then. So, anyway, I got to know him very well. But one of the things that annoyed me is he referred me to me. He loved arriving by air anywhere, in England. And he always used to refer to me, he was superior, he would say, look after my personal pilot, will you, as he stepped out of the Ulster. And that annoyed me. And I said, I told him, oh, I'll stop doing that then. And he did two other things that amused me about him. One was that he lived near Thruxton, just near Middlewallop, and so on. And he used to get picked up at Thruxton little airfield then. It was before it was a racetrack or anything. And there's a little grass field, and not very far from Middlewallop. And so I used to pick him up there. And one day, it was foggy, it was hacking with rain. I was due to pick him up at the little control tower at Thruxton at about 7:30, 8:30, something like that, I don't remember exactly. And so he rang me up before I took off. I was in the crew room and he rang me up and said, I don't think the weather's good enough, John. I think we'll scrub. Oh no, General. You're going down to Devon, down to Oakhampton, where there's a firing range. And I said, that's all right, General. I said, we'll do it. And, oh, will you? I said, I'll meet you at control tower. So I took off from Middlewallop, and I knew that bit of real estate like the back of my hand. And I didn't take off, I just got off the ground, sort of just above tree height. And I could just see the ground, rather like driving in fog, you could see things coming. But I knew where I was, and I landed at Thruxton, taxied up to Control Tower, and there was Prior Palmer, sort of dusting himself down. And he said, we're not going, are we? And I said, oh yes we are, sir. And he said, well, what can I do? What can I do? I said, you sit in the back where you normally do, sir, and we're going down the railway line. And I said, you're going to tick off the names of the stations as we go through. And so he did. But what he didn't know, which I knew, was that this whole weather system was clearing away to the east. And as we got down somewhere down near Exeter,
Right.
it all came as clear as a bell, and we landed the other end. But that was one of the things. And it was on the same trip, coming home again, to Middle Wallop from wherever it was, Oakhampton, yes. And it was a nice day. We got over Southampton Water, coming up the coast, and he said, from the back seat, he said, "See that yacht down there in Southampton Water?" So I said, "Yes." He said, "It's my wife." So I said, "Yes." He said, "Go and beat it up." I said, "No." He said, "This is an order, go and beat it up." So we gave his wife a real old dusting in Southampton Water. And then he said, "And now go and land at Hamble." And of course there wasn't an airfield there, it was a little grass field.
Oh, God.
And I dropped him off at Hamble, and his wife went and picked him up by yacht. But he was a very, very nice man.